local. Not much has been more in the news kind of recently than the Stonehouse Inn down in Little Compton, with legal battles taking place down there. I have with me the attorney for the Stonehouse Inn. I have Kevin Vendituoli. Thank you for coming in today.
No problem at all. Happy to.
I know you've been a very busy guy this week dealing with the Stonehouse Inn and the recent decision by Superior Court to say, hey, halt on the weddings at the Stonehouse Inn, pertaining particularly right now this week, they said, to the use of the adjacent parking lot?
Yes, that's correct. The parking lot was found by the judge to be non-compliant or non-conforming with zoning. We essentially received an order from the judge indicating that that parking lot couldn't be used in conjunction with events, which effectively took away our ability to conduct those events on behalf of the clients that we had scheduled. Our primary concern certainly in that situation is our brides. We had one booked for Saturday, and that decision and opinion was issued on Wednesday with a clarification on Friday that effectively indicated to us that we couldn't go forward with the Saturday event.
And you've used this parking lot. Folks have been down there, have seen this parking lot. The Stonehouse Inn was under the impression they were allowed to use this parking lot. So how could the court come in at this sort of 11th hour, if you will, and then make the decision about zoning and say, whoops, no, it's not really in the zoning? How can they do this at this juncture?
I'm not entirely sure as to how the judge came around to that conclusion. Our understanding going forward with the hearing in which the testimony was received that led to this opinion was that we were there seeking a judicial order granting us our entertainment license. However, the town had filed a motion or temporary restraining order against us at the outset, which wasn't particularly pushed along the way. Evidence wasn't offered towards it. It wasn't briefed. And in that, they were seeking a restraining order essentially telling us that we couldn't hold outdoor music at the facility. So the parking issue with respect to whether or not we could use it, really, it sort of came in as a blindside to us, and it left us scrambling a little bit. Obviously, it's not an ideal situation when you have a bride finding out that her wedding needs to be relocated the next day after a decision is ordered. That said, our team did a tremendous job. I think that bride ended up being happy, and we're hoping for continued success with that.
And how long have you been working with this client for?
I serve as general counsel for the organization. I've been there a little over 10 years, almost 11 years now.
So, talk to us a little bit. This is not new in terms of the relation between the Stonehouse Inn and issues with the town. But then when the new owners came in and they said, we want to, pour millions of dollars into this facility, make it a top-notch venue for weddings, how in 2017 is all of this taking place if the owners had the understanding that they were given the green light to do a certain number of weddings each year, the parking lot was there? There seems to be a lot of stuff going on almost even after the fact, after they put all this money into the Stonehouse Inn.
Yes, 100%. The facility, the Stonehouse, was owned by a local family and very well regarded and ran a great family business with the inn, events, and the tap room, which is the restaurant on site. The group that bought it in 2007 invested heavily in renovations in the rooms. They essentially were unsuccessful. They opened up the restaurants. They conducted outside events such as weddings. It sounds like, according to our evidence, at least 30 a year underneath the tents as we were attempting to do so. They never had an issue with this parking, and in fact, the prior owners, the family business that had owned it for going back to the early 70s, are the owners of the parking lot in question. They lease it to the inn, and they have lived there for at least into the early 90s, and the parking lot appears to have been leased by the Stonehouse from the owner of that residence since at least the 80s.
So what happens now? You're filing legal appeals to what this Superior Court judge had decided, going to Supreme Court. How long will it take to, finally get sort of that final answer as to whether or not the Stonehouse Inn can move forward having these weddings?
I can't say with any certainty as to the timeline for an appeal, when we'll receive an answer on that. We're simultaneously seeking zoning relief from the zoning board, as the court seemed to believe that was required in this situation. We are moving forward on all fronts as quickly as we can, with the primary focus being take care of the events and the brides that we have booked for this summer, and make sure that they get the perfect day that they were looking forward to, anticipating and expecting us to provide. So the primary focus right now is on the brides. Our team has gelled. We are moving forward and transitioning them and setting them up with alternatives and planning on providing them with alternatives, while at the same time legally we are pursuing the zoning relief as directed by the court, although it's not clear what relief we are to seek, and pursuing an appeal of that court decision.
What was your reaction when you heard the decision this week?
I was very surprised by the decision. I anticipated that if the judge who was presiding over the matter had made a ruling, I thought he may restrict amplified music, as he did with respect to outdoor events, so that it would be limited to acoustic music, for instance. I also anticipated perhaps he would limit the number of events per year we could hold on the site, but I didn't anticipate that we would receive favorable findings on all of those and then ultimately have to close the doors because the parking somehow didn't comply with zoning.
And if somehow, again, as you're making these legal appeals, moving forward again, trying to get weddings allowed at the venue, what happens if that doesn't happen? What happens if the courts decide continually, and the sort of zoning and the town council that want to see this not have weddings at the Stonehouse Inn? Can the Stonehouse Inn survive without weddings?
I certainly hope so. Having been born and raised in Little Compton, I'm very interested in it. I love the property. I think it's well beloved. I think the weddings are a critical component of it because there are very few venues like that in Little Compton that can service the community the way we had hoped to with this project when we took it on 2 years ago. I question what that alternative would be, and I oftentimes have questioned what is it that will work here that will satisfy the group or the individuals that are opposed to us conducting the weddings there, because I don't think anyone wants to see it closed down and essentially mothballed to the point where it falls apart. It's a beautiful building and a beautiful location, and it's a great amenity for the community.
Do you think, again, there's clearly opposition from folks who, as you mentioned, about the parking, about the noise. Are they sort of getting more credence and are they getting sort of more favorability than a business trying to operate there? Do you think that the scales are tipped in their favor right now?
I believe that they are certainly tipped in their favor right now by the direction that the town council took with this. The town council certainly sided with them in the face of very reasonable propositions to come to some mutually satisfactory resolution in which we put conditions, restrictions upon ourselves as part of an agreement to honor these events. We were met with silence with respect to those proposals, which effectively boxed us in and put us up against the wall to the point where litigation was the only option in order to make sure that we could honor these contracts with these brides, make sure these events were taken care of.
So, again, folks have been hearing this news, again, hearing about the wedding cancellations. Anything else that you think the public should know at this stage in the game about what is taking place at the Stonehouse Inn in relation to Little Compton?
Yes, I think the public should know, first and foremost, we are trying to take care of these poor affected families, and we will absolutely take care of them and make sure that their events go off without a hitch. After that, we hope to continue to operate, and I would urge everyone that has a good memory of the Stonehouse, that supports a local business like that, where there are so few in the town of Little Compton that can provide jobs for the locals. I would hope that there is something out there that everybody can weigh in on and eventually get behind, because we're willing to shape what this thing looks like in the future. We're willing to work with everyone, but we need to hear the voices on what will work rather than what won't work from a few individuals.
Well, I appreciate your taking the time to come in here and kind of walk through the issue, bring it right to the public. Hopefully we might have you back if there's news moving forward. Again, this took place this week. Wanted to get Kevin in here again to get the perspective from the side of the Stonehouse in after we had heard from the judge about the cancellation by lieu of the parking lot issue being sort of the one this week that had put that stop to them right now. So Kevin, hopefully we'll be talking with you in the near future. I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
I'll let you go back out to the task at hand. I'm sure this is taking up a huge amount of your time.
Yes, it is.
Is that an understatement?
A little bit of an understatement.
Okay. Kevin Vendituoli, the attorney for the Stonehouse Inn, again this week, Superior Court judge ruled that the parking lot adjacent to the facility to the wedding venue in Little Compton was not in compliance with town ordinance. They are fighting back. Again, as you heard him say, he's willing to work with everyone to see the best and highest use of the Stonehouse Inn in Little Compton. So we'll continue to follow this story here from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast.